Movies on fire. Movies on fire.
Yeah, it's May the 4th. War, baby! Man, Revenge of the Sith. For those of you who were sadly in a coma or just couldn't make it, this past April, after 20 years, Revenge of the Sith pulled a Return of the Jedi, and it came back to theaters. I don't know about you, Zach, but as a Star Wars fan, I feel like we're eating pretty good.
Oh, yeah. We discussed this before we even went to see the movie. Neither of us is fully capable of being an objective critic of this movie. This is a nostalgia hotspot for both of us, par excellence.
Yeah, I mean, you know, prior to watching this movie, I was a little bit ill with allergies. So I checked out The Phantom Menace. I rewatched Attack of the Clones. I got myself in the mood and the headspace. Hell, Andor was about a week from popping up with new episodes. So I was really excited for that as well. And like I said, my cup runneth over because we headed out to our local Cinemark theater. We sat in a big crowded theater. And we got to rewatch, I think, you know, is cult classic the right word for episode 3 at this point?
I don't know if it's a cult classic. I think it's popular enough that it might not even qualify for that status, which is strange, given that I still don't know if I think this movie is good.
Yeah, this is such a weird film to watch because it is so entertaining. You know, look, I can throw this on really when I'm in any mood and I will be entertained by this film. It feels like the Alien Resurrection of the Star Wars saga, in that there are parts of it that are campy, that maybe don't entirely work, yet somehow it Frankensteins its way into being more than the sum of its parts.
But before we go positive, what is your favorite line or scene of bad dialogue or clunky performances in this movie? What's your favorite bad part of The Revenge of the Sith?
Maybe it's because we're so in love.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
It's because I'm so in love with you.
The entire balcony scene.
Love has blinded you.
Oh,
Only
yeah.
because you're so beautiful. Yeah, fellas, if you're on Tinder, don't.
Yeah.
Don't.
Yeah, it's rough.
Don't pull out your George Lucas book of pickup lines. I don't even know where you have it. Take it, burn it, bury it. Okay?
Yeah.
You just... no. This is not how you pick up the ladies. Any other way, please.
Yeah, no. That's actually the same one I think of every time. I'm like, wow, this movie's amazing. It's like, no, just watch that scene a couple times.
Look,
it's not.
The Anakin Padme scenes remind me of every single date I've been on where there wasn't a second date, where we just kind of hung out awkwardly over like a tapas platter and like left, you know?
Yeah, that's yeah, good Lord. He has not fixed the dialogue problem at all.
Which is weird because, dude, there are parts of this movie where the dialogue slaps. It really works, and it's very paradoxical. Mm-hmm. It hardly makes sense as to why it works. I mean, maybe like I think Zach, you and I were discussing the actors who are giving the performances in this movie. For starters, I don't think it's a controversial take to say that Ian McDermott, Sheev Palpatine, the hero of the Sheev saga.
I hate that his first name is Sheev.
whose granddaughter will go on to usurp the Skywalker line.
Yeah, famously returning Sith Lord.
Yes.
He definitely gives the best performance, paired probably with Ewan McGregor, who's Obi-Wan.
Yeah, he's excellent. And I really don't want to trash Natalie Portman because like she has scenes in this movie And, you know, like I would even say, especially towards the end, like the only part of their relationship that I think I bought is when she's breaking down in tears and crying.
It's the part where they're not together.
Like, dude, basically any scene in this movie where it's either the two of them where like there's some heavy emotional stakes going on towards the end, or during that one scene in which they play that really famous track, the Padme's Ruminations score. Those are all scenes that really work. It's just this movie suffers hard from Attack of the Clones syndrome. It doesn't necessarily come together in a way that's always cohesive. And it's a real shame too, because the deleted scenes for this movie, which I think are all like, they're really interesting. Funny enough, they kill Shakti, the Jedi, who looks like a rocket ice pop with the tentacles going down her face.
Yeah, she's the same species as Ahsoka.
Yeah, dude, they find 2 different deleted scenes to kill her in.
Yeah, I don't fully understand. I know for a fact that Attack of the Clones, George finished the actual like screenplay for it very close to filming. Like they had already started doing basically everything. Which is part of the reason that everything in the background looks so good in Attack of the Clones, is that they didn't know if it was going to be important or not. But Revenge of the Sith, somewhere out there on George's hard drive somewhere, is a 4-hour cut of this movie that I'm not sure is any better.
Oh my God.
But it is longer.
I want to see it. I really want to see it.
But it sounds like the opening sort of space battle and Rescue of the Chancellor was like an hour long in the original cut, and they cut so much of it, which is good. Basically every line of dialogue, they like every little like interaction between Anakin and Obi-Wan they have in that original bit that's deleted was not good.
Yeah, that and some of the worst deleted scenes in this movie are just parts where they're like meandering through that ship.
Oh God, yeah.
Not that they're atrociously bad, it's just they go nowhere. It's just padding. It's really just filler. And ultimately, it wouldn't have added a lot to the film. However, we get these really cool deleted scenes where Padme gets to do some shit.
Right,
she gets to start, you know, the sparks that would go on to light the Rube Goldberg machine, that would ignite the sparkler, that would create the flares, that would in turn strike the flint, that would spark the resistance.
Yeah, it's I do appreciate the fact that he cut them for time. I think it would have hurt the pacing of the movie, but as a result, he just cuts all of Padme's character from the movie.
I mean, this is true, but and don't get me wrong, I love the lava fight. It's very visually pleasing. I know it's supposed to be a really intense action scene, but it's actually kind of relaxing to me. It might be because it reminds me of like a nightlight I used to have, or you know, it could just be, you know, it's a dimmer setting. It's that nice, relaxing orange tone to it. It's a weird feeling. Either way, it goes on for like 25 goddamn minutes. Where really it could have been like 5 or 10. And maybe if it was 5 or 10 minutes long, we could have gotten Padme plotting to start the rebellion with Mon Mothma, which, you know, it's cool because if you're a fan of Rogue One and if you have been watching every single episode of Andor every Tuesday it's come out in one sitting, it's cool seeing the lineage that this actress has. Genevieve O'Reilly, I believe is her name. God, I hope I didn't just butcher that or screw it up. But point is, she's had this long-standing relationship with this character since 2005. I mean, the reason why she was brought back for Rogue One is because, you know, the producers at Lucasfilm felt bad for giving her the shaft in this movie.
Yeah, but they cut all of her scenes.
Yeah, and it's really cool seeing her get to showcase this character, because, you know, it turns out Mon Mothma is actually really, really freaking cool.
I mean, not in the movie, to be fair. When you actually watch the deleted scene, she's there.
Okay, but when you're watching her get trashed at her wedding in season 2 of Andor.
Oh, I'm not saying Andor, but that's my point.
I feel that.
And that's kind of the difficult thing with Revenge of the Sith is, like, for one, obviously it's a nostalgia touch point for both of us. We were both the exact right age to get into these movies when they came out.
You were 7 and I was 6, right?
Roughly, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, Zach, dude, what was your first experience like watching this movie?
Oh, that's actually really hard because I don't even remember when I first watched this film.
Okay, did you have like the DVD with all the different menus and stuff?
I did eventually, but I don't know. That's where we get even more difficult into this, is like Revenge of the Sith is such a weird like multimedia project, because I am very confident the first version of the story I encountered wasn't the movie. I think it was the junior novelization But even past that, I'm pretty sure I read the adult novelization long before I actually saw the movie. Just because my parents wouldn't let me because it was PG-13.
Your parents were like, look, the boy's reading, he's doing fine.
Right, yeah.
We don't care what's in it.
Right, yeah. Reading about Anakin getting immolated is fine. Watching it, not so much. Yeah, that's the difficult part is there's so much stuff. And because the movie was still in development, like George was changing and cutting very close to release, that means that there are different versions of this story that are in tons of different media. So, for instance, the Lego Star Wars video game, which has Episode 3 in it,
yes,
came out before the movie.
The classic.
It's amazing.
The GOAT.
It's like I imagine it's actually not as great. We went back to it and played it, but like we also again can't judge that objectively.
Hey, look. We went back and played it, and I had the fucking time of my life doing
I had fun,
it.
yeah.
Except for the inverted stick controls.
That was rough.
That was a learning curve.
I know you can't. Don't invert your y-axis on your your rail shooters. I don't like it.
Don't do it.
But so that came out before the movie itself, so you could play through that and get at least kind of a version of the movie. But the official game, the PS2 Xbox version, also came out before the movie, and it's a slightly different version.
Did it feature any live action cutscenes from the film?
I don't believe so, but I also haven't played that game in a very long time, and
look,
don't really intend to.
2005 was like a really good year for Star Wars video games. We got Battlefront 2, we got Republic Commando, and we got Revenge of the Sith. And dude, I had this game for Game Boy Advance, and I got the DS version.
That one's really good.
And they're all different.
Yeah, that's the strange thing is like there's so many versions of the story. Like when you read the novelization, the adult one, I haven't read the junior one since I was a child, but the adult one, which I think that book is probably the best version of this story if you had to choose one, or at least if I had to choose one. But the weird thing is some scenes are very different. So like when the Jedi go to arrest Palpatine, instead of saying it's treason then and doing like a 920-degree spin from a prone position, he is like tricking them. So he's getting them threatening him on tape, essentially, so he can broadcast that to the galaxy. And then some scenes that were deleted are kept in. So for instance, all of Padme's story arc is in the novelization. Like it's all there. So you can tell just how late in development it was that George must have been cutting this, because by the time it went to Matthew Stover, who wrote the novel, like he still had it all in there.
Dude, I can just imagine George Lucas like frantically mashing buttons in Avid to put this shit together at the 11th hour. And part of that kind of fills me with joy. Like to know that at one point George Lucas was probably cramming his body full of like caffeine and bagels. Like I've been there. To know that other people have been there as well is just so comforting to me.
Yeah, I don't know if it's ultimately a good thing. I think it makes the movie weaker. One of the best examples of that is he midway through changed Anakin's motivation for going to the dark side, which feels a little late to do it. But originally the idea was that it was supposed to be that Anakin was worried the Jedi were going to take over the Senate, that Palpatine had convinced him purely politically that the Jedi were going to try and take over. And you can see a lot of that in the finished film. So for instance, obviously he confronts Mace Windu as Mace is about to assassinate the Chancellor, and it feels kind of clunkily inserted that he's like, oh yeah, we're it's doing it to save Padme. Despite the fact that Sidious can't, and that seems like an oversight. There's lines where he's talking consistently. You see that, for instance, when he's talking to Padme before he turns, where she's saying, what if the Republic that we were fighting for, the democracy no longer exists? And he's like, well, now you're talking like a separatist. It's all remnants of that plot. Even down to the final fight where he's fighting with Obi-Wan and he's screaming like, I should have known the Jedi were plotting to take over. Like, why is that the thing you care about right now, Anakin? Well, because originally that was what he did. And just they didn't change it enough to match the new idea that it's because he's trying to save Padme.
You know, I completely agree with you there. And that might just be part of where the script fails this movie. But I think that was always one of my... I wouldn't even necessarily say it's a problem, but I think the way I interpreted his character in the very famous, it's like a ballet or something they're watching, like a zero gravity.
Yes, it's like a space opera, a literal space opera.
Yeah, and
which is very on the nose, George.
Like, not only that, but that scene is extremely Freudian, where you have some like zygote imagery. Mm-hmm. That's happening within the stage, where it almost kind of looks like in a very Freudian way. I think you could interpret that as the conception metaphor for like Anakin's birth into the dark side.
Yeah, it's really weird.
It's an interesting choice. You know, it's one that I think it's not necessarily a choice I would make. It's a choice that George Lucas made.
Yeah.
And that's why I love the freaking madman, you know?
Yeah. And ultimately, Star Wars, at least the George Lucas 6 film saga, is a story ultimately about fathers and sons, right?
Yeah.
The original trilogy is a story of Luke and his current father, the farmer Owen, Uncle Owen, and then his leaving to be with his surrogate father of
Oh, speaking of fathers, man, you know who really fucked up in this story? Anakin's stepdad. Where the hell was he? Okay, because in Attack of the Clones, there's the one guy who tragically loses his legs. I don't know if it was like space gangrene or something like that.
No, I think he got cut off by the Tusken Raiders, right? I don't remember.
Well,
it doesn't matter.
I mean, I'm talking about what killed him, because obviously he has no legs in Attack of the Clones. You know, like look, maybe he was smoking death sticks.
Yeah, sure.
You know, you gotta stay away from those, and maybe that's what finally did him in. But that guy's like nowhere to be found, and I'm just imagining like, hey, son, you know, your mother, wow, she had all these last wishes, and you know, her whole thing was like, I love little Annie. I've never wished for him to slaughter an entire Jedi temple and go on a school shooting. I mean, he really could have, you know, come in at the 11th hour. But yeah, I don't know where that guy is. Is he off racing banthas or buying scratchies on Tatooine? Like, where the fuck did he go?
I mean, the key is he doesn't really matter. I don't even know if he needed to see Uncle Owen in it, Beru.
No.
Although that is my favorite decision. I mean, there are a ton of baffling script choices. Padme dying of a broken heart, I guess, is up there. But I think my favorite weird little decision that the characters make is they're like, we need to split up the twins. What do we do?
Send the boy to the poverty world.
Right, like the girl
Send
gets
the girl
to be
into luxury.
Right, like the girl gets to go to be a space princess on like space Switzerland.
Yeah,
and live in like luxury and political
whether
power.
people like it or not, we get to see her in the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, and she looks like she's really enjoying life.
Right, I mean what's not to enjoy?
Yeah.
Like the boy, it's like, what do we do with him? Like, yeah, send him to his family on that like slave-ridden poverty planet. He gets to go be like a shitty farmer in rural Utah. Like,
you wanna know why? Because fuck him. That's
I know. But what's difficult about Revenge of the Sith 2 is, I'll go with this. So the film critic Armand White once said that George Lucas is a director who achieves the impossible while botching the basics. And I think that's the best metaphor I have. The prequels are a space opera in the truest sense of the words. It's operatic. It's over the top in every way. It's played completely to the hilt. There is no irony anywhere in these movies. It is 100% sincere. But also, it's a disaster. The pacing is wonky. The dialogue vacillates wildly from being like weirdly profound to just arbitrarily goofy. The characterization is a little all over the place. And
in fact, look, the original point I was going to make in that scene where Anakin is, you know, at the opera with Palpatine, he's made up his mind before going in there. Okay, because and I don't mind that, but it is somewhat contrary later on in the movie where he has a big like fucking moral meltdown over what to do, over whether he's going to choose to bail out Mace Windu and kill the Chancellor, or if he's going to honor his ascendancy to the Sith. But like, Palpatine is basically doing everything but hanging up a very large neon sign that says "I am a Sith."
Oh yeah, Anakin's really stupid in this movie. He's not the brightest guy.
Yeah, either that or, you know, he's made up his mind that like, you know what, I've had an iPhone for a while. I want to know what this Android thing is all about.
Yeah. I don't know. That's not really my read on that scene. I don't think he has decided when he gets in. I think that's a point where Palpatine really makes his play. I think all the groundwork's been laid, right? He's already suspicious of the Jedi. I mean, Palpatine knows appointing him to the council is going to go badly. He's, to be fair, even an idiot could see that. But like, I'm not sure he does come away from that knowing. I definitely don't think when he walks into the Mace Windu attacking Palpatine, I don't think he knows what he's doing there.
I mean, look, Zach, Anakin is conflicted about turning to the dark side like I was conflicted about buying a burrito that was probably going to give me food poisoning.
Sure, yeah. That is a big problem, is like he doesn't really seem to worry about it. And I think a lot of that problem actually stems from Attack of the Clones, where the idea is that Anakin is a hero, right? It's a classic Greek tragedy. The same things that make him great: his dedication to his friends, his love and attachment to his people, his just deep passion for everything. the same things that make him great are also what causes him to fall. The problem is he doesn't really ever get great. Like, he's a murderous psychopath in episode 2. He's a murderous psychopath here. And I'm like, okay.
Now, and admittedly, we're having this discussion right as I'm about to start watching the Clone Wars hype. I understand that Clone Wars kind of smooths out that transition a little bit, where we get to see Anakin at his best, which we don't really get to see that, in these films. I mean, especially in Attack of the Clones, where Anakin basically gets "fuck them sand people" tattooed on his forehead.
I like another one of the weird dialogue choices is when Obi-Wan goes to Padme and he's like, I've seen a recording of him killing younglings. And she goes, not Anakin. He couldn't. Like, what are you talking about? He absolutely could. Like,
I hated him.
Right?
I slaughtered him like animals.
Yeah, it's...
Nope, not my Annie.
I think the only read on that has to be either that she's like absolutely idiotically stupid, like brain damage to the point where she has memory lost, or is super racist against Tusken Raiders. And I'm not sure which of the three it is, but like it almost has to be one of those three, right? Like, it's, oh God.
Well, clearly she's just a hysterical woman who,
of course, yeah.
Just dismiss. Oh man, I've canceled us. Shit. But going on. Yeah, dude, it's one of those things watching this movie where I can get over that hump.
Right, you kind of have to. If you're gonna enjoy it.
I'm all right with it, and God damn it, it's like this movie is constantly charming. It's like when I get Dutch Bros and my fucking cat jumps up and knocks it over, and I'm like, I can't stay mad at you.
Right. And a lot of that is literally a definition of nostalgia, but there is a lot to like in this movie. So even to go into the Padme and Anakin romance, which to be fair is the worst part of the prequels, I don't think that's controversial. It's really bad. There's some good stuff in here. I think that there's a really good subplot going on throughout the whole movie. Two, really. One is where Anakin is pretty clearly jealous of Obi-Wan. He continually mentions, like, Obi-Wan was here, right? Like, why does Obi-Wan know? He's jealous that Padme's getting closer to him, to Obi-Wan. Which, to be fair, I would be too, because Obi-Wan is magnificent. But we see that Anakin is getting more and more controlling, which, to be fair, he always has been. He's always been a bad boyfriend.
Oh, Anakin is, oh boy. Actually, I think the biggest argument that this movie makes is that we should all have better access to behavioral health programs. Because I'm just going to say this, Yoda has not been APA registered. He doesn't have enough training. Yoda is just, he's not a good therapist.
Yeah,
you need to fire Yoda if he's your therapist. You need to find another provider. And like, I get it. Like, I don't know what the Jedi Tricare is like, but clearly things have gone wrong, and that's why the Jedi Temple gets blown up.
Yeah, it's because they don't have any treatment for Anakin, essentially, that they have no clue how to handle him. And like I said, one of the things I really like is later on we see where that possessive, controlling nature in a relationship leads, right? Like, Anakin is the abusive boyfriend, and it's sort of understated here. But at the very end, obviously, he does the most like stereotypically abusive boyfriend thing you can. He chokes his wife out. He like very clearly does not care about her in the slightest.
He does everything but drink a Pabst Blue Ribbon. Right.
It's really bad. And one of my favorite little bits of blocking in this movie, Obi-Wan when he leaves the ship. So there's an amazing bit of dialogue where Anakin's screaming, just like, you turned her against me. And Obi-Wan very clearly, very straightforwardly, just like, you've done that yourself.
See,
which is great.
That's the thing about the dialogue in that movie, because for every line that's goofy or kind of cringy, you have something that's just really well stated.
Right, and it's perfectly sincere. And that's, I think, a lot of what goes. It's not ironic at all. It has to go completely to the hilt. It has to just play it straight because it can't do anything else, or it would be even worse. But the blocking piece that I was getting at, Obi-Wan is at the ship, right? Anakin is on the other side. Obi-Wan sort of rotates Anakin around so that he can check on Padme. Like, he's moving Anakin out of the way so that he can get to Padme and check and see if she's okay, despite the fact that it puts Anakin between him and his only escape route. That is, outside of potentially the end of The Last Jedi, which I really love, where once Luke arrives, nobody dies except for him. That might be the most like incredible summation of what it is to be a Jedi that George does in the movies.
But what about the droid attack on the Wookiees?
Yeah, it's visually incredible, is what I would say. And that's another thing that this movie is is very well known for, is being a pioneer in the way of special effects and how those worked.
So
despite
I
the
saw-
wonky, goofy nature.
I saw Thunderbolts recently before it got retitled to spoiler, and it kind of dawned on me when I was watching that. I know one of the biggest criticisms levied at the prequels is that they were over-relying on computer-generated imagery. But the fact of the matter, this is like the I Am Legend moment 20 years later. Most of our major blockbusters are used, are built using the same technologies. Where, you have Marvel productions that are, like, again, 95% green screen.
Right.
And, digitally generate effects. Granted, there are some movies where I think there's a better ratio of practicals to set building to, fulfilling certain areas with VFX shots. But, like, look, Revenge of the Sith really sets the tempo for what special effects in movies are going to be down the line.
Oh, yeah, I would absolutely agree with that. And anyone who says that they are never good, because to be fair, there are some really goofy moments. Anytime the clone troopers showed up on screen, they looked ridiculous on the big screen. I don't know what's made the difference, but for some reason at home, they're like, fine. On theater, no, they were awful. But that opening scene where we pan down from the war into the tracking shot.
That's one scene where maybe it's just seeing people in the cold, empty vacuum of space where there's, like, I don't know, less light being reflected on people, or where, I mean, maybe part of it, Zach, is just skin tone, because I feel like my mind can do the magic where, it's filling in the gaps for the clone troopers in armor. But anytime you had human flesh, which is basically Tamora Morrison's face, sandwiched on top of that CGI
so
armor.
Goofy.
That's where it looks really jarring. You have a really strange juxtaposition between the two where you're like, okay, granted, I know it's a pain in the ass. Those things are sweaty.
Right.
They get smelly after a while. You gotta buff all the stains and shit out. But, like, I don't think it would have been very hard to get actual dudes in suits. Now look,
could you build like two? Yeah.
I'm willing to let it go. And, again, when I say most movies today are using these same technologies, I mean, anytime you're watching a master shot in a Marvel movie, it's pretty good odds that Marvel Studios is hiring VFX artists who are using the same technology in this film. It's just, dude, we're 20 years down the pipe. And
literally, yeah.
Technology has advanced.
Yeah.
I really do think that had George pulled an Avatar and tried to wait another decade, I feel like people's problems with the visual effects and I don't think they would be entirely diminished, but I don't think that people would hold that against this movie with nearly the same vigor and animosity that they do now.
And the other question is whether, without these movies, these enormous successes that were shot on digital, Attack of the Clones especially is one of the very first blockbusters to be shot purely on digital, like, would that technology even have been there in 2009 for James Cameron? And I don't think it would have, at least not to the same degree. Lucas really did push it forward, for better and for worse. There's a lot of that transition that I don't like.
Funny story. It's Revenge of the Sith. And wait for it, Scary Movie 4.
Wait, what?
That's right. These are two of the more notable releases to be shot on all digital Panavision cameras. Now, granted, you had some other movies beforehand that were using, like, consumer grade camcorders. Like Open Water is this really nasty little, I mean, and by nasty, I mean, it's a lovely movie. It's just, it's entirely emotionally distressing and depressing to watch. But there's this shark attack movie called Open Water about a pair of two idiots who get stranded from their scuba group off the coast of Australia, and they are slowly eaten by sharks over the course of 90 minutes. That was basically filmed on like a little consumer handy cam that was printed onto 35 millimeter. So I think there's like a lot of debate as to what the first digital movie was, but as far as like some of the more prominent movies go, Yeah, it's literally Scary Movie 4 and Revenge of the Sith that are
Nobody
considered.
talks about Scary Movie 4 anymore.
I do. I talk
Okay,
about
sorry,
Scary
Michael. Nobody except Michael talks about Scary Movie 4.
I will defend that movie. I will. I swear. I will find whoever besmirches the good name of Scary Movie 4, and I will beat them with my DVD copy of it.
Oh,
that I
no.
bought at Entertain Mart for
I'll have to
$3.75.
I'll have to go find my DVD copy of Revenge of the Sith.
You're goddamn right you will.
We'll have to go out to fight ourselves, like maybe in a lava area. Yeah, like-
Oh yeah. Well, I've got us a plane trip booked to Hawaii. We're gonna fight it out.
That's actually, it was Italy. They filmed an actual erupting volcano. Mount Etna
Okay, that's
erupted
really cool.
during 2005. Yeah,
That's
they took a
metal.
trip to Italy. But could we talk about that scene for a little bit though? So I'm a
we
sword
can.
nerd. I was a fencer for a while in high school. It is amazing. I agree fully that it is too long. It takes way too long.
Yeah.
But the sword work is incredible, especially when they're planted at the beginning. There's a moment where they are going inside the building, and they kind of like circle each other for a bit, but they do like a grab, counter grip, it's like a grab, counter grab, strike, swing into like a full next phase of the fight. That's incredible. And I love that the fight tells the story in just purely within the fight, which is always a difficult thing to do, where Obi-Wan is on the defensive basically the entire time. He's not attacking really. Anakin is swinging to kill the entire time. Obi-Wan rarely attacks at all, and when he does, he doesn't swing to kill. He misses pretty intentionally. Like, he's missing obvious hits that he could have taken Anakin out because Anakin is massively overreaching. And in fact, later on in the movie or in the fight, we see the same thing where once they're on the lava flow, when they're on that like big tower that's collapsed into lava flow, we see Obi-Wan intentionally tricks Anakin. So he's trying to swing back over into the main lava river, but he's intentionally tricking Anakin to overreaching and trying to get too far out before. He's essentially trying to get Anakin to get stuck on the platform as it falls down the lava waterfall. So he's trying to get Anakin killed so that he doesn't have to do it, but also using Anakin's blunt force like aggression against him.
He is very, very passive throughout that sword fight, and I feel like that even lends itself to his decision to walk away from Anakin, despite. Is the right thing to do to kill him at the end? We're talking about someone who is hideously maimed and will later go on to become a Darth Vader. I definitely get why he decides to spare his life, because, it'd be like killing your son or your brother. It's what we call a loaded decision. I'm pretty sure of that.
I'm not sure he could have done it anyway. Also, to give Obi-Wan a little bit of credit, people are like, why didn't you just go stab Anakin? Like, make sure he's dead. Because he cut off 3 of his limbs and then watched him literally burn alive on the side of a lava river. To be fair, I would not assume he survived. I would assume he's dead.
But even then, does that make him more of a dick? Because if you're walking away thinking that your beloved apprentice is going to burn to death in a river of lava, isn't the more humane thing to go and just to a fucking coup de grace?
What's the alternative? For one, I would argue that's not a Jedi action, right? Killing without cause. That's kind of the point of the turn moment, right? With Mace Windu. There's actually a clever bit of dialogue where at the very beginning, when Anakin cuts Dooku's hands off and he's got the 2 lightsabers at his throat and kills him, Palpatine tells him that he was too dangerous to be left alive. And then when Mace goes to kill Palpatine, he says he was too dangerous. He's too dangerous to keep.
I just noticed that.
Yeah, so that's the point. Is Obi-Wan actually has the moral high ground, literally, and he doesn't choose to kill Anakin. And ultimately, of course, Anakin kills Palpatine. It works out for them. It's a very, it's like poetry. Sort of, it rhymes.
It's like pottery. Yeah. It rhymes.
But yeah, so that moment is very important, I think, for Obi-Wan's character. Of he won't do it. He won't kill Anakin. And again, I don't think this is some sort of big plot hole. I'm not a huge fan of plot hole attacks on movies anyway.
I don't think it's a plot hole either. If anything, it's just great fodder for me to make jokes about. The character work to me completely checks out. He's not... Obi-Wan is not a killer, and I get his decision to just walk away and to go back to Padme. It makes sense what he does.
I think it also plays into that abusive boyfriend angle, right? Of sometimes he's not savable. You kind of have to leave.
Yeah.
and I think that's true for Obi-Wan as well. And that gets into, again, like, the dialogue is clunky. I agree. Revenge of the Sith, I don't ultimately think is a great movie, but there's so much here that's working that's incredible because that scene is so metaphorically resonant in addition to being just really visually cool. But, like, for instance, I mean, everybody knows, obviously, you see Palpatine and Yoda ascending into the Senate chamber, right? They're literally destroying democracy. They're throwing Senate, like, chambers at each other.
And it's really cool.
Yeah, it looks really cool. It's really cool from, like, a moment-to-moment perspective, but it's also
and look,
it's resonant, right?
Ian McDermott and Frank Oz are, like, 1,000% committed to these characters. They are embodying these performances. And to see them just, I mean, they're hamming it up, right? Yeah. It's just a great performance to watch. And, you know, I think a good lesson that can be learned from Revenge of the Sith, you can earn a lot of goodwill if you just stick the landing. If you can give people a good finale, I think that goes a pretty long way in smoothing things over.
Yeah, sorry.
And unlike, I think, The Phantom Menace or, you know, even Attack of the Clones, this movie has a constant sense of escalation. There's never that we're just going to hang out on Tatooine for like 25 and a half minutes. You know, there's never a moment where they're just chilling on Naboo. No, it is point A to B to see all the way to Plan 66. And
which is insane because I still think this movie has some big pacing problems, especially in the middle. The middle is rough, where it feels a little too slow in that, like, second phase where they get to Coruscant before Anakin turns, and then way too fast in the turn itself.
I feel like, don't get me wrong, I like the Kashyyyk stuff, but the Kashyyyk stuff also kind of comes out
we could cut
nowhere.
It,
yeah. Like
I think George is just trying to stave away people's boredom.
Yeah, that checks out. And I guess you need a reason for Yoda to be absent from the Jedi Temple.
True. And Obi-Wan makes sense as well to get him out of the Jedi Temple, but we do need to see his, like, Star Wars side quest.
Yeah, we do. You know, what do you think tourism is like on Utapau?
Yeah, apparently quite poor, given they have, like, 2 places you can land your ship.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah, but, like, just what do you think their food is like?
Well, they have, like, 2 species, right? Because they have the tall white guys, and then they have the short brown guys. I don't know what George meant by that, but
what did George mean by it?
Yeah, but, like, yeah. And that's the weird thing about Revenge of the Sith is, like, there's so much in there that's amazingly good. It's literally a space opera, right? Because at the end you have the destruction of the political system as you're watching it physically happen. You have the destruction of industry as Anakin and Obi-Wan are destroying this mining and, like, industrial harvesting area, right? Like, as their conflict is destroying everything good about the world, you have Padme dying because she's always been the symbol of democracy. Like, Anakin kills her at the same time as he's being reborn into this, like, coffin himself, like,
into a fascist Batman, basically.
Yeah,
into the Darth Vader.
Right, and so there's so much about this that's visually incredible. And I think my favorite scene in the movie is the one where Padme and Anakin are just looking out of the Jedi Temple, and I want to say it's called Republic of 500, wherever Padme lives.
No, that scene really works. Again, that's visual storytelling at its strongest here. We learn everything we need to know about these characters from their body language and from the John Williams score that's playing in the background. It might be one of the... Look, I still think if I'm looking at what the best scene in this movie is for me, I know I keep on gassing on about it, but the opera is
really good.
Peak Revenge of the Sith for me. Sometimes I just cue that up whenever I have 5 minutes of work just to, you know, bask in the Ian McDermott of it all. You know, it's a great scene. I love the delivery. Ironic. You know, I mean, there's a reason why that scene is so quoted, I think. And it's not like anything here is so bad it's like unwatchable, because, like, again, for me
that
at
balcony
least,
scene,
it's never quite boring. Like, even, and I think that's the thing too, cult movies are never made on purpose, right?
True.
And I feel like if someone was intentionally writing dialogue to be bad, you wouldn't enjoy it.
I agree.
Like, some of the magic of this is just the imagination of this one man being poured out onto paper, and sometimes he doesn't have the self-awareness to fully recognize.
Yeah, and That's
you
a
know,
lot of
how
what I
some of this
love.
sounds, and that's why I think it works.
Yeah, and that's a lot of what I love about the prequels is its sincerity. Like this is, I think there's been a trend, not just in modern blockbusters, but in modern kind of culture. I think of like hedging your bets. Don't reach too far because you might not make it, right? Because the safer thing, to be fair, is never to fully plant yourself on one flag. I mean, anyone who's alive and is younger than like 40 knows the concept of ironic fandom, right? But at least for me, I'm sure there are some people who ironically love the prequels, but I unironically love it. And that's what I love about it, is it's completely sincere. It is trying to tell the story of how a dictator can seize control of a democracy in a goofy, kooky space opera that happens to have Jar Jar as a character. And I love that ambition, and I love what it's doing, even if I don't ultimately think it sticks the landing completely.
No, I really do think there is something to be said for that. In fact, this is why I've been really excited to follow James Gunn as a filmmaker, because he's really embraced like a lot of the D-list DC characters. And whenever these characters are on screen, again, it's that same degree of sincerity, like a appreciation for these characters, for, you know, the source material. And I don't think this is that cynical of a movie.
Well, that's the difficult thing, right? Is like it is a very cynical take in some ways. That, I mean, in my opinion, the best line in the movie is, "This is how liberty dies, with thunderous applause." Right? This is the story of a fall into fascism.
Yeah,
But,
and you know, some context for folks who maybe weren't too cognizant of the politics going on at the time. I mean, I know I wasn't. I was 7
yeah, we were
years
too
old,
young. Yeah.
and you know, it really took a lot of. I don't want to say soul searching, but it took a lot of research and sort of, you know, reflecting on my own experiences to kind of fully understand what it meant to grow up, you know, with the war on terror going on and, you know, in the shadow of like the Bush administration. And I think people make the mistake of reading too much Bush into this movie. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's certainly there.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
If you're not with me, then you're my enemy. Like.
Yeah, that is very much out of like the Dick Cheney playbook. But, you know, this movie was coming out of George Lucas's experiences as a student during the 60s and 1970s. You know, this is going back to Richard Nixon and Vietnam. So, you know, this is not necessarily a movie about the war on terror.
No, it's there, obviously.
But you know, it's that's really just history in the United States repeating itself, you know, time and time again.
I would argue it's not even just the United States. I think George is trying to tell the story of how a republic gives itself to a dictator. And that doesn't even need to be American, right? Like George consistently references
it's definitely
ancient
well
Rome.
said.
Yeah. And that's the difficult part of this, right? Is like, obviously this is less of a kid's movie than The Phantom Menace or Attack of the Clones, for sure, especially Phantom Menace. But it's still, I mean, we understood it, right? As kids. And I didn't get the full thing, but this is a great way to convey of like, this is where dictators thrive, when democracy fails to live up to its promises of representation, of change, where the like corporate interests and special interests hold a lot of power and the people can't get around it, right? Because the people want things to get done. It's fear. It's the terror. It's the worry that draws you into that sphere, right? I mean, George literally spells it out because this is George Lucas. He can't do anything else. It's fear leads to anger leads to hate, and hate leads to suffering. Fear is at the core of Anakin's fall on a small level. Fear is at the core of the Jedi Order's fall on a middling level. And fear is the core of why the galaxy gives itself to Palpatine on a high level. It's all ultimately down to making decisions of fear.
Yes, and the only thing that Emperor Palpatine fears is losing his unlimited power.
Yeah. And again, George lays it out for people. It's direct there, right? Of like the only thing he became so powerful, the only thing he was afraid of was losing his power.
Which of course he did.
Eventually, of course, he did. Yeah.
When his apprentice killed him in his sleep.
Yes, you have a very good Palpatine voice. I don't know if that's coming through on the podcast, but it's very good in person.
Thank you.
But yeah, that's the core of it, right? Is making decisions in fear. And again, it's played on multiple levels, because we see Anakin making decisions out of fear because he's terrified he's going to lose his hot wife. He doesn't really seem to care much about her, but he's worried he's going to lose her. And we see him also afraid of like not being seen as important, his fear of loss. Yeah.
It's a fear of impotence. He's on the council, but he is not a master.
Right. He gets passed up for promotion.
Than everyone else.
Yeah, despite the fact that like it's obviously a nepotism hire. It's ultimately everything in the prequels relates back to that concept of fear. And that's really good character work. And really good thematic work too, even though it's hard to see sometimes for the goofy dialogue.
I mean, if you ask me, I feel like Yoda really could have sidestepped a lot of these issues by allowing him into the Jedi Temple, but just keeping him in like the cafeteria.
I mean,
You know,
the other,
just keeping him in logistics for the whole time.
yeah, and just in general, the Jedi are just like, they're completely nothing, right? Especially in Phantom Menace, where they're like, maybe we're not going to train. Like, what are you going to do, dude? Like, send him back to Tatooine? Like,
Dude, I have said this again. The Jedi, they need a fucking human resources team, okay? Like, where is HR throughout this entire thing? Like, did nobody walk up to Yoda's little Muppet ass and be like, hey, dude, maybe you should go free the slave kid's mom,
right?
And make sure she isn't horribly disfigured and possibly assaulted by Tusken Raiders on the impoverished desert planet. You know, it doesn't like, I don't know what the financial situation with the Jedi Temple is, but clearly they're don't pay rich. They don't pay taxes, right? Mm-hmm. Can we both agree on that?
Oh yeah, they're definitely a mega church. Like they're completely tax exempt.
100%. Like I feel like they're selling action figures of Jedi in universe.
I'd believe it, honestly. And George does a really good job of like making them completely apathetic, right? Like Mace Windu doesn't seem to care at all, which is insane because he's Samuel Jackson. But I mean, when he finds out he's a Sith Lord, he doesn't even seem that worried about it. He's just like, yep, we got to figure this out. And I do think that's actually by design.
The Jedi practice a very specific type of repression, and I get it. You know, it's the monk thing of abandon all earthly attachments, but they don't recognize the humanity in this person, and that is, I think, as much as anything in this movie, as much as this person's very human fear, it's the fact that what does he say in the prequels? My name is Anakin, and I'm a
person, and my name is Anakin.
That's right.
Yeah, and that's what Qui-Gon's arguing in Phantom Menace, right? Is that we need to be more mindful to the living force, pay attention to the people. And Clone Wars does a really good job with. I don't want to get too much into Clone Wars, obviously, because it's not the movie, and it makes the movie better when you watch it, but it doesn't make the movie better as a movie. But Clone Wars does a really good job of examining that the Jedi have completely detached themselves from attachment in people, but as a result, they're kind of like sociopathic.
Indeed,
they don't care at all. The fact that Dooku became a Sith is completely logical.
You're like, yeah, that checks out. I mean, and dude, I kind of wish Qui-Gon Jinn had stuck around into Attack of the Clones. I mean, I think this movie, like this trilogy of movies, would have been a little bit stronger if he maybe gets killed at like the Battle of Geonosis or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. At that point, I think we're just litigating.
I suppose we are. Maybe I just really like Qui-Gon Jinn. Like I
do.
I hate to say it. I can totally imagine like you're at the dispensary. And that's who you run into.
That's why he chose a green lightsaber, right? Like,
yeah. No, seriously. Like if Qui-Gon Jinn is in episode 2, he's like, you want to sell me death sticks.
Oh yeah, he's definitely tripping on space shrooms at least once or twice in his career, right? Like,
this is too much. You will sell them to me for half the credits.
Yeah, and that's one thing I actually really like about Revenge of the Sith is, to be fair, I think it muddles the film, but every character has its own tragedy, right? Padme believes so much in democracy, because I mean, take a look at episode 2, right? The line of like, the moment we stop believing democracy can work is the day we lose it. That's true in a lot of ways. And Padme is so heavily believing in democracy, heavily believing in Anakin, that she ends up dying for it. Anakin obviously has his normal tragedy, but Obi-Wan is in a tragedy as well, because he believes in Anakin. He believes that Anakin is going to be able to overcome his demons, and he believes that the Jedi Order can be better than it is, and both of those come back to bite him. Like there's tragedies going on in multiple levels, and I do think maybe the movie would have been better served to focus on one of them, but I love that George went for all of them, even if it's a bit of a mess.
Yeah, and again, I do feel like Padme is the biggest casualty of this movie, because as it stands right now, without any of the context from the deleted scenes, her only role in this movie is to get pregnant with Luke and Leia.
Yep.
And sadly to die in childbirth.
Yep, essentially. That's all she does. She yells at Anakin a couple times. But her arc in this movie is really more facilitating Anakin and Obi-Wan's arc than it is her being a character.
Yeah, and I think I speak for the audience here when I say that, like, look, Natalie Portman is a good actress. She has turned in some really fantastic performances. She's the lead in one of my favorite movies, Annihilation.
That is a good one. Yeah.
She has range. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, have you seen Black Swan?
Right.
You know, she can act her ass off, dude. I mean, and it sucks that she gets so much to do in the first two movies, and here I swear her character is just like a flat line.
Yeah, at least like in Attack of the Clones, she's making decisions. They're bad ones, but they're decisions.
Yes.
And to be fair, I mean, I don't think either of us would argue that Attack of the Clones isn't the worst prequel by a pretty wide margin. It's really bad. And I think most of the problems here are related to Attack of the Clones.
Yeah.
But it is still sad that one of our who I think is supposed to be a central trio character is just doing nothing.
Yeah, I mean, we get to see a lot of her like hanging out with 3PO, you know, turning on the space HBO in the apartment. Like, she just doesn't get a whole lot to do, which is regrettable. But you know what? Say la vie.
I think R2 does more in this movie than she does. Like, genuinely. Like, he at least has impact on the plot. Also, a quick reminder that as the person who drove Anakin to Mustafar, where he kills the Separatist Council, R2 is an accessory to war crimes.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many war crimes committed in Star Wars that, it's hard to avoid being
he's got
accessory,
nothing
honestly.
on Chopper, right? From the Rebels show.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't seen Rebels, but I've seen that video montage, and it's funny.
Oh, yeah, Star Wars The Clone Wars is basically just, the gang commits war crimes for 7 seasons.
Hey, I love it.
But, yeah, I mean, I guess that's the key to understanding Revenge of the Sith, though, right? Is that it is stupid. It is dumb in every way it can be.
Look.
But we still love it.
It's a feature, not a bug.
Unfortunately, I think I have to agree. And again, we can't objectively judge it.
Okay.
I would have hated it as a kid.
Let me ask you a question. Mm-hmm. Would it be better in 3D?
Hell yeah, it would. You know that? Oh, man. I'm actually really sad. So Revenge of the Sith was shot in 1080p. It can't be restored to 4K.
No.
We'll never be able to take it forward. It's so sad.
You know, it's a shame, though, because you can actually find 35 millimeter scans of footage from this movie. And, dude, I feel like it's just the grain that gives it just a little bit extra oomph. I mean, I feel like it even just kind of smooths over some of the special effects. Like, I think watching this on a digital projector might be the worst way to see Revenge of the Sith, which is why all the theaters need to listen to me, which is why Hollywood needs to listen to me. You need to do away with these really silly digital cameras we all have, and we all just need to watch movies on 35 millimeter again, you know? I mean, seriously, Zach, they need to listen to me on this. I'm right.
I don't fully disagree. I like 35 millimeter, but I also understand why they don't. It's expensive as hell.
Yeah.
That said, I mean, they've got the money now. I don't know if you saw it. This was a huge success, the re-release in theaters.
Okay.
Made a lot of money.
How much are we talking here?
Admittedly, it's been a while since I looked, but I think it was 65 million.
Oh, shit. All right.
That might be
That's pretty
high.
good.
That might be high, but it's at least 20 or so million to pull in what was it, a week? So that's a huge amount, especially given a lot of movies this year have been bombing.
Dear God, this movie was not in theaters for very long, was it? I mean, it was maybe 2 weeks, if that. Yeah. I mean, normally, whenever I book us tickets to go see a movie, we have our pick of the litter. We can have any seat we want to. I mean, Zach, we saw Ash, right? Earlier this year. How many people were there? There was no one there. It was fucking us. It was a private screening, basically. I mean, Grant, it kind of ruled. It was a really sick way to watch a movie. But, look, I was actually kind of pressured to get us, good seats for this.
Yeah, and that's... One, if you're worried about when you're like, oh, I don't want to go back to the theater because it's annoying, you have to deal with people, just watch weird small movies. Trust me, no one's there.
Yeah.
But also, seriously. It's kind of sad.
Yeah.
The only thing that can get people back to the theaters is an older movie, which is, again, it's not a knock on this movie. And I know re-releasing old movies has been a thing since theaters started, really. That is not a new phenomenon. And I don't think it should be ended at all. But I do think it lends some credence to, why are film studios only doing reboots and sequels, stuff that you already know? Well, clearly it keeps making money. Clearly nobody's willing to go to these new little productions of movies they've never heard of. It's only the big stuff.
And granted, Sinners aside, because I have the feeling that Sinners might be the exception and not the rule this year.
Yeah, the internet's also been helping that one. There's 1 or 2 movies every year that the internet will just make.
And I am so freaking stoked that Sinners has been doing as well as it is. And I think one of the reasons why that movie performed so strongly is because, well, it was truly unique. I mean, it's a vampires movie set in Jim Crow Prohibition era Mississippi. That is a high concept, and it also just does so much musically. And I know we're talking about a completely different movie now. We're not talking about Revenge of the Sith anymore. But, you know, I feel like The Sinners, it was a bit of a triple threat. Mm-hmm. And I have seen some really fantastic films this year, like, Black Bag, which starred Michael Fassbender and Cate Blanchett as like the horniest spies you will ever see, who just happen to be terrible people. Excellent movie. Lovely film. That didn't pull the numbers it necessarily needed to. And like that's just been one of a couple of different movies this year that have come out and, you know, just kind of bombed, which admittedly is really sad. But I mean, I don't know. I still think it is maybe too early in the year, but it's already May.
We'll probably know more after the end of this month once the big holiday season or the big summer season hits.
Yeah, and like some of these, I get it. As much as I did enjoy Mickey 17, I can also understand why that flopped because
didn't have horror elements. Didn't have enough horror.
Oh boy.
That's why Revenge of the Sith did well, right? Horror. There's body horror in this movie. Like. But yeah, it's interesting to see the way that's going. And there was another thing I noticed in the theater this time that I thought was a myth. So I know there's been a lot of talk, especially post-COVID, of people being like, theater etiquette's gone. Like nobody can handle being in the theater anymore. I always just chalk that up to being like massively over-exaggerated. Good God, dude. People in our showing of Revenge of the Sith could not stay off their fucking phones. Like someone right in front of us in the row was on her phone most of the time. The guy to my right was on his phone like half the movie. Genuinely, he had his brightness down at least, but like he was on his phone through most of the film. Like, dude, bro, you paid to be here,
dude. Like, look, if you have to check a text real quick, you keep that shit in your jacket or like under your shirt, and you pull a turtle, okay, mm-hmm. where you pull your head inwards, so it's just you and your screen. I fucking
genuinely confused me.
I fucking hate whenever a cell phone goes up in a movie theater. I don't get it. It's like, look, you better be a fucking brain surgeon or like a trauma doctor or something like that. Okay, there better be lives on the line. Okay, because you know this is where we all go to check out something really cool together. Mm-hmm. And by God, I think that we ought to have a sniper perched in the upper decks of the movie theater.
That's maybe a little strong, but like
just waiting to take out whoever's on their phone.
Yeah, and I think that's in some ways a good sign for the movie. Like it clearly brought a bunch of people who didn't spend a lot of time in the movie theater back to the theater. I'm not sure what that says, but like I think that's the case. It's very weird though to watch someone like on their phone just like scrolling and posting about the movie while they're watching the movie. Like, dude, you watch the movie. I don't know.
I mean, Zach, we won't even talk about the Minecraft movie because I didn't see it. You didn't see it. This is all.
I prefer to watch movies I think I'll enjoy.
Yeah, I mean, dude, like the Minecraft movie, I haven't been to a screening, and I don't want to speculate on something that I haven't personally experienced. But some of the videos coming out of this are like wild, where people are singing along to it. Mm-hmm. It's like fucking rave inside of the Minecraft movie. So it makes me think. Are we just hanging to a reality where there are like different branches of the theater going experience where like there are the meme movies that no one is actually taking seriously? Like you're there just for the clout or you know, does the Alamo Drafthouse model still exist of we're all just going to sit down and bust out our theater going monocles?
Bust out when we watch the space opera.
I've got my notepad and I'm watching the Kino and I'm taking notes or whatever.
Yeah, what's weird is I think the internet tends to over exaggerate anything. So I do not doubt that some screenings of the Minecraft movie are like that, but I also don't doubt that there are people who are going to see it unironically. I work in a nursery on Sundays with kids, and a lot of the kids who are that age that we were when we saw Revenge of the Sith, that like 8, 9, right around there, seem unironically interested in watching the Minecraft movie. I think they will like it.
I believe it. But I think it's like the Gentle Minions age where that was another one where you had. I love the Gentle Minions. That was a heroic moment to me where you had all these young men who were going to go see fucking minions dressed up in suits.
And that's the thing, right? It's like I don't think that we weren't the same way when we were in our teens, right? Like I'm sure we also had really haughty opinions and like really stupid opinions about film.
Sure,
but I think you didn't hear about it as much, and it couldn't become as viral. I don't know if that's better or worse. I really don't. But I do think maybe don't take that at face value. Most of the theaters that we have been in this year and last every year really have been great.
Yeah.
And the fact that we're commenting on theater etiquette for this is a result of the fact that it's an anomaly, not that it's common.
Yeah. And look, to be fair, I think as much as it chafes to say this, someone busting out their phone. Well, I mean, it sucks, but unless they're just being like really, really obnoxious about it, like I'm probably not going to say anything. Like I'm going to sigh.
I didn't, yeah.
Like I guess if someone was like, I don't know, if they were like playing Angry Birds.
Yeah, if it's someone disturbing everybody else, but
yeah, or if someone's just like binging TikToks in the theater, I might say something. But otherwise, if it's just someone. God, like I don't like it, but if this is reality, whatever, Yeah,
admittedly, it's hard for me because it's bright, but yeah, that's their choice. I don't get it. I think a lot of the fun of the theater is taking the time to focus on one concept.
See, this is why I love Alamo Drafthouse, though, Zach, because if you do see someone being obnoxious, you can actually snitch on them, and then the theater managers can remove that person from the theater.
Michael, if you don't stop talking about Alamo Drafthouse, people are going to figure out that you're a wealthy white man.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
I know, we got to talk about the poor theaters.
Never.
Over in my neighborhood, yeah.
Never. I will never surrender my overpriced cocktail and my pizza that costs $12.50.
Good God. Oh, my God. Clearly I do not spend as much time at Alamo Drafthouse. That is a stunning number. But
I mean, dude, I guess I don't know. We're probably nearing the end of the episode now.
Oh yeah, we gotta. Sorry.
Like, man, the only reason to go to Alamo Drafthouse is because sometimes they play really kick-ass movies that get re-released there that you can't find anywhere else. Like, I want to say in 2024, I missed out on Starship Troopers. Look, this is a podcast. You can't see what I'm doing with my fingers right now, but I missed out on Starship Troopers by this much. This much, Zach. It would have been so amazing to have seen that.
You love that movie.
I fucking love Starship Troopers. I would have loved to have seen it in the theaters. And then another cool thing the Draft House does, they'll usually, like, instead of previews that go on forever, their pre-theater show is like a bunch of like bonus material and stuff that's related to the movie you're about to watch. So like when I went to go see Evil Dead, they played like a bunch of Sam Raimi's student films.
That's cool, yeah. Is it as cool as Hayden Christensen looking like he's 80, walking out into a theater and telling us that this is where the fun begins?
Oh yeah. But hey, my ultimate opinion on Revenge of the Sith, I loved this movie when I was 6, and I still love it now.
Yeah, I do love it. It is not good, but I love it despite that.
No, it is the, I don't know, it is the delicious carne asada burrito
garbage,
that may or may give you food poisoning. All right, guys, that's a sewed. Please continue to stick with us Zach, I think we have some cool stuff coming down the pipe. We've been promising depressing Russian war movies for a while now.
Yes.
And I think that's actually going to be our next episode. So join us next time for Come and See.
Oh boy.
Cheers.
Movies on fire. Movies on fire.